All right, let's talk about it. The biggest story left in the slop season had just fallen over whilst I was eating my Doritos and licking my fingers. This move had social media buzzing. I mean, people were so over the moon for this. I mean, this is the next super team for LeBron Raymond James Sr. to join and, compete for a title, his fifth title. Shams tweeting that. I was not expecting it. It was 11 a.m. Eastern when he tweeted that. And then LeBron apparently tweeted a heartfelt message about the process that he went through to make this decision. LeBron James, in his glory, decided to team up with Joel Embiid and Jaylen Marcellus Brown. And you got Tyrese Maxey there. And Bob Myers, who was advising the front office changes in Philly, got the former Cavs front office executive Mike Gansey and trusted the process and got him LeBron and Jaylen Brown this offseason. What a splash for Philly. And I mean, to think that not too long ago, this was the team Embiid had to compete with in 2023. James Harden, Maxey, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker on the far right. And I mean, for Joel Embiid 10 years ago, he was reminiscing on how they almost had LeBron James when he first moved back to the Cavs in 2014. And then 2 years later, when LeBron was making another free agency decision, Embiid with another recruit pitch here for LeBron James. Find a new slant, LeBron. Trust the process. And when he found out that he was going to be a Laker, well, Embiid said it bluntly, the Lakers would forever be Kobe and Magic's team. Process that. And now we fast forward to 2026, and Embiid gets to play with a team with this much scoring options, this much potent scoring lethality. I don't even know if that's a word. That's just how sensational this looks for the Sixers, who before Jaylen Brown got traded had a 60-1 odds to win the title. Now, after LeBron even signed there, with the Jaylen Brown trade being done, 9-1 odds to win the title. This team might be the team to beat in this gauntlet that is now the Eastern Conference. And oh boy, as a Raptors fan, you would imagine I'd be shaking in my boots. LeBron back in the Eastern Conference since 2018. Oh, LeBronto. I can already hear the LeBronto noise. And all I have to say about this is thank God Rich Paul and Bron didn't choose to go to Indiana. That was the one team that LeBron could have gone to where I would genuinely shake in my boots. This is a recent video from Tyrese. And I mean, wow, an East Bay off a torn Achilles from a year ago. People thought, well, he's going to be limited coming back from that injury. I mean, he looks more athletic than he did before the injury even happened. Folks, I was really scared that LeBron would choose Halliburton, knowing that if LeBron had joined this team, they would just slot Neesmith at the 2 and have LeBron play the 3 with a loaded lineup. And that bench, you cannot underscore the bench. I think that bench is fucking lethal. We've seen in the playoffs some of these dudes rising up to the occasion. Kelly Oubre as an option off the bench isn't too bad. He's not a starter for this team. Considering their center depth before with Miles Turner, they had Tony Bradley and Thomas Bryant backing them up during that playoff run. Brother, and they still have Jarris Walker. I mean, bro, this team, I'm not going to lie, bro. LeBron James, thank you for choosing Philly. Because this is where we get to Philly now. This is a very stacked starting lineup, right? I'm not even putting VJ on here. These 4 alone, I mean, this is a lot of talent to put on a team. LeBron is on the best contract value-wise in the NBA, probably that we've ever seen in NBA history. And then you add in the potential of a second-year leap from VJ Edgecombe. I mean, this just makes them so much more dangerous as a team than they looked in, June, a month ago, when they still had Paul George. And LeBron apparently factored in the fact that they traded for Jaylen Brown to make his decision. Without Jaylen Brown, you wouldn't get LeBron. I mean, this just... And they added Dean Wade this offseason, another good player that you could have slotted in the starting lineup had LeBron not shown up. And they drafted a player that I myself wanted to see the Raptors draft. I mean, why aren't I scared? Why aren't I feeling as threatened by this team as I would have if LeBron had joined the Indiana Pacers. His potential starting lineup includes 5 players that could each score 20 points or more on any given night, 4 players that could score 30 or more on any given night, right? But you see, basketball doesn't work that way. When all these guys assemble on the same team, you're going to have to scale your role down. Maxey's going to play more off ball, and he said he's willing to, even when LeBron wasn't even in the picture. For VJ Edgecombe, Maxey said he was willing to play off ball, so I don't have a problem with that. Maxey's a great off ball player. Now, what does this mean for the others? LeBron James, we know he didn't have that good of a season this past season shooting the ball from deep, but he did have a very good scoring season shooting wise the year before. I think he shot 40% from 3 for the first time in his career in 2024-25 for the Lakers. It was 23-24, but you catch my drift. LeBron at one point did shoot really well, but seems like the last 2 seasons, the numbers dipped slightly. And look, he took more attempts in 25, and it dipped slightly. He was still shooting above average, league average. But then he took less threes, seeing that he wasn't making as many of them, and was actually shooting well below average. And, honestly, it did spell doom. Seeing that as well in the playoffs, his numbers aren't that much better. I mean, especially when you look at the year that he had his best shooting year in his career in 23-24, it was still at 38%, not the 40 mark that he had in in the regular season. But still, those percentage numbers, look, that just indicates to me that, if I'm a team that's playing defense against this Sixers team, there's 4 players not named Maxey, right, that I could just go under a screen for. And I won't have to worry that much about them, lighting it up from 3. Embiid's a guy already. He doesn't like taking too many threes. He's going to hesitate on his shots. He's going to try to come in closer to the free throw area to try to shoot that jumper that he likes to shoot. Jaylen Brown's the same guy. He doesn't like taking too many threes. Okay, well, he's going to come inside, attack you with the mid-range. The X factor for this team, I think, is VJ Edgecombe. Can he take that second-year leap that people are hoping he will? Can he make this team more enticing? 2 off-ball threats in Maxey and VJ, especially in transition. This team would be a monster transition team. This is probably the best transition team in the NBA right now. I wish they did this graphic and showed the turnovers per game that these players averaged. 3 out of these 5 players averaged basically 3 turnovers a game this past season. Maxey, 2.4 turnovers. VJ, well, he's a rookie. He didn't really have that much usage. And as somebody that, is a Raptors fan, I root for this team, and I hope this team wins a title one day. Kawhi gets through, and, the investigation ends, which I expect it to very soon, and Kawhi gets traded officially. This is a team that is salivating looking at all these turnover-prone players on the same team. This will be a fantastic matchup for me. In my opinion, the biggest problem, obviously, is the Embiid factor for Toronto. The Embiid factor. We still don't have a center that is healthy enough, consistently playing, that is able to, guard up Embiid. Embiid's going to be the biggest issue for us heading into a matchup versus them. VJ Edgecombe, if he does take a leap, that's another threat that we have to worry about, navigating through screens, trying to defend. But again, the spacing that the Sixers offer, I just don't think it's that good. I think people are overstating the depth that they have, even off the bench. Oh, man. I mean, I'm looking at this bench depth, quote unquote. Caleb Love from Portland. He had some good moments. I remember those games against the Warriors. I don't know why. He just loved feasting on the Warriors. Anthony Simons, another guy that, scoring wise, he can offer you, microwave scoring, which is good. It's good, in bursts. LeBron Philon, the rookie. Now, having Anthony Simons on the team makes me think that either they're going to, get Philon in slowly, try to incorporate him into the offense slowly off the bench and see what they got with him, or if they see that Philon actually looks more NBA ready than they expect, they might trade Anthony Simons, try to get more depth off the bench. Let's see. I don't know. Dean Wade, I think, by far their best bench player that they got right now, could be a starter easily for this team. I could easily see Dean Wade be part of the lineups that actually are the better lineups on off wise for the Sixers team. And Huck Porty is another guy that, in New York, he had some moments off the bench, but, that's still not enough. Who's the backup center for the Sixers team now that Drummond is in New York and that, Embiid, we know, is going to probably be load managed during the season. Who's their backup center? Hukporti? Hello? Are we serious? Adembona? Look, man, let's be honest with ourselves. The depth is very, very, very shaky once we start factoring in the defensive end, not just with the lack of defensive versatility in the starting lineup. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. I think that's the biggest issue for this team by far. That I haven't even began to dice up. I mean, who's gonna rebound for this team? Who's gonna be the hustle guy? Who's gonna be the nitty gritty guy? And let's be honest with ourselves. How is this team going to work defensively? What is the scheme? What are they going to run at the POA? Maxey, okay. VJ, okay. Who are they going to have navigating screens? Maxey, I guess. Who are they going to have, helping, hedging, who are they going to have, obviously playing drop? Embiid famously plays drop. They added KCP off the bench. Boy, do I have news for you about that dude. 3-pointer wise, we all know his shot is broken now. We haven't seen him be as lethal of a 3-point shooter as he was in Denver or even in LA. KCP's a guy that I think people are going to be very disappointed with. It will be like DFS to Houston last year. People expecting a lot more from guys that in the recent years with Orlando and Memphis, we just haven't seen the level of production that you would want from a player of his caliber, right? And so I ask you again, depth, where is it? Can you please point me to it? Phylon's a guy that you could potentially slot in as a backup that will provide you a lot of playmaking, scoring, and maybe his defense comes back to form like it did in his first year in Alabama. Because for his second year in Alabama, his defense, regressed heavy. But look, Phylon could be the option as their perimeter defender. But I'll be honest with you, weighing in at 176 pounds, he's going to get up against bigger guys in the NBA. I think he's going to struggle mightily to guard up. He's going to be hunted on defense. And they already have enough problems with that. Dean Wade as a spacer is another problem. In the regular season, he'll probably be great for them. He'll probably be a fan favorite. But in the playoffs, let us be honest with ourselves. What we've seen from Dean Wade in the playoffs was a guy that was shaky when it came to shooting the ball. If Philly has guys like Jaylen Brown, Dean Wade, LeBron, and Embiid, where I'm just like, yo, bro, I don't mind you shooting the three because you're not converting enough of them. If that happens, what does this mean for their inside game? How are they going to get buckets inside the paint? Because, again, the name of the game is spacing. Okay, you need to maximize the spacing on the floor. And if guys aren't shooting the ball well, I could just pack the paint as much as I can and limit your inside game. Jaylen Brown likes to play inside. Maxey likes to drive. He's fast. Guys like VJ got to make their shots from deep. Guys like LeBron have to make their shots or that paint is going to be clogged up. It's going to be hard for LeBron to convert on his attempts. They're going to have to feast in transition to make up for that. And that's in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to have enough of those chances in transition. That's the problem. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Kelly Oubre, picture LeBron instead of Kelly being there, passing it to Embiid right there. I mean, they're going to get a lot of easy looks just off of the fact that you got LeBron. Jaylen Brown can also make that pass to Embiid right there. I picture this offense at its most ideal, them being able to attack off closeouts. If they are making their shots, teams are going to have to close out really fast, and that's where they'll make most of their damage. But the problem is if they're not converting enough of their 3-pointers, then teams are not going to be willing to close out nearly as fast, nearly as much. And so that will just eliminate a lot of those advantages that you gain. So much of the potential of the Sixers team is how talented the inside scoring is. I mean, a lot of these guys could do damage inside the paint, right? And Embiid as a passer, LeBron as a passer. I mean, the ideal is you have guys at every position that could dribble, that can make plays off the ball, off the dribble, that can shoot. Ideally, if you have all that, it should work out really well on offense. That shouldn't be a problem. You got one guy in the post. It's four out, one guy in the post. Embiid. Okay, fine. You got Embiid there But if I'm clogging the paint knowing that these guys won't shoot, Embiid's gonna have 2 to 3 on him when he gets that entry pass from LeBron. I think we're gonna see some moments on defense where guys will shine individually. And I think even with Embiid being load managed, I think the floor for this team is so high that in the regular season they'll be fine. Right? Even with the depth being limited, I think they'll still be able to, win a couple games just off of the fact that they have enough scoring talent that can just outscore you at any given night. Some of these teams just cannot compete with that level of scoring. And Embiid, a guy that, probably will be rested for the playoffs, that's where that's really the test for this team, the playoffs. I think it's really useless to evaluate this team in the regular season. I think at their best, they'll probably be a near 50-win team, closing in on that, and then resting for most of that season with Embiid resting, LeBron resting some games. And in the playoffs, I think we're going to see a lot of the weaknesses that I pointed out be amplified. If you were to put a gun on my head and say, how far do you think the Sixers will go? I say they could go as far as the second round, but I do see them losing in the first round to a lot of these teams that are in the Eastern Conference. I mean, this conference got better. We got to be honest. Yeah, but that's it, bro. Have a good one. Peace out.